folks, in today's video tutorials I'd like to show you how to work with Creo Parametric 4.0 and Revolve feature. We will start with new 3D model and with specification of the name. In the ribbon you can find directly here the Revolve feature, and if you start to work with Revolve feature, the system asks you select or specify the sketch plane. You can see this information here. What you need to do, the Creo Parametric always write some information here. So we would like to select the sketch plane. In the sketch, it's necessary to define the open or closed loop. I will start with closed loop, so you can see here that I can start with really easy shape with rectangle, and the system automatically create necessary dimension for me. In the sketch, if you create center line as a datum feature, the system automatically create or change dimensions and create the diameter dimensions. So I like to finish the sketch. Okay, yeah, and you can see here I will switch off the displaying of the planes, and if I use the right mouse button, over there is the function show section dimensions. So you can see here the system automatically creating the sketch for me the diameter dimensions. So you can specify the dimension in the sketch or directly here. You can change it, it's no problem. So for example 240, and you can confirm. So the Revolve feature is really easy. You need to specify only that you would like to create the Revolve feature. You would like to specify the sketch plane, and in the sketch specify the shape. Yeah. So I'd like to specify the new shape here as a rectangle and center line. If you always create center line in your sketch, the system automatically create diameter dimension here. Yeah, so 300. If my sketch is attached to center line, the system will create the closed shape. If it is not attached, you can see here the system will create for me the Revolve feature as a whole, with hole. There's no problem. You can combine open Revolve feature with closed, and if it's necessary in the future, you can create a hole. If you create a hole here, you can again use the exist and exist and use the hole feature here and specify from which surface you would like to create a hole. You will specify the diameter and depth. Yeah. So for this example, the depth of the hole will be through all. It will be directly go through the whole 3D model. So it was really quick example how to create hole, place it on the axis. But I like to focus and continue with Revolve feature. So over here we would like to create some cuts. Again, if you select the Revolve feature, you can specify and select the sketch plane, or you can use the placement define, and over there is the function use previous sketch, and the system automatically jump to previous sketch. If you would like to create another shape, for example here I'd like to attach to the surface, you can use the Alt key and system automatically add this information as the reference. You will specify the informations or necessary dimensions, and you can change it again. Yeah, so for example like this, and or if you would like to modify more, you can use the right mouse button, and over there is the layout menu with modify icon. And again, you can set the new numbers and confirm with enter from the keyboard directly here. So there are two options how you can modify the dimension directly by double click, or select the dimension and use right mouse button modify. Or over here you can see the modify icon or function. If you confirm OK, right now you can see that I don't specify the central directly in the sketch because it's enough for me this dimension. So I will confirm OK. And right now the system asks me, can you select the curve or edge or axis? For what? Because we need to use the axis of revolution. The system automatically recognizes that it's possible to remove the material. Yes, it's true, because I'd like to remove this material. And I'd like to remove around the axis 360-degree angle. So, okay, everything is fine. From now, it was really easy. Select feature, create a sketch, and finish. But what will happen if you will start with different shape or different angles and so on? So I'd like to focus on the next example, but I need to start with extrude feature. You know that we can create extrude feature really easy, and it's really similar to Revolve feature. We need to select the function, extrude, and directly from the model tree we can specify the sketch plane. I will use the symmetric rectangle with any dimensions. Okay, and for example, depth like this. Okay. And if you would like to continue with Revolve feature here, you can see that it's possible to specify Revolve on any surface, and again we can specify the shape what we would like to revolve. If you imagine here, I have created a rectangle, and right now I'd like to add the Revolve feature here. So if I select OK, the system asks me select the straight curve, edge, axis, or so on and so on. So if you select this edge, the system will automatically rotate or make a axis of revolution around this edge. If you select that edge, you can really quickly change the axis of revolution, and the system automatically add or remove the material. Yeah? Where is the defined? The axis is defined here, so if you would like to change it, no problem, you can change it here. Or you can use the inner axis. What does it mean? I will go back to the sketch, and if I select axis, directly I'd like to create a center line in the sketch, and it will looks like this. And if I confirm OK, maybe if I will add material, you will see that I can use the internal axis. And the system will add material for me or remove. With dynamic preview, you can recognize it really easy and see what will happen. Okay. Right now, I use the 360-degree of angle, but I don't want to use I don't want to spin around the axis for 360-degree. I'd like to use a different angle, and you can see here that is possible to use the custom angle, and you can use the custom angle to one side or another side. If you'd like to remove the material, you can switch over, switch on, yeah, and then you can specify the angle. The angle orientation or specification can be defined symmetrically to both sides, or you can go here, and I don't want to specify symmetrically. I would like to specify the first here. It will be 120-degree, and the second side will be, for example, to select it, and will be to that surface. Yeah, and right now the system add material here. Or you can specify the variable and add different angle. And again, you can choose if you would like to add material or remove material. Here was example how you can work with Revolve feature and specify different axis of revolution for one sketch, or how you can specify the angle. The last thing what I'd like to show you is how you can use and create surfaces with Revolve feature. Okay, I will start from scratch, and I'd like to create Revolve feature, and my sketch plane will be front datum plane, and in the sketch again I will create a center line and open shape. What does it mean? I will use only one line, and if I close or if I finish and confirm OK, the system automatically show me the message that it is not solid because the shape is not closed. Okay, I'm satisfied with it. So I will go back here, I'll confirm OK. And with dynamic preview, you can see here right now that is the surface. So if you would like to speak about the surface modeling, you can really easy jump the surfaces here. So if you finish the Revolve feature, the system will create the surfaces for you. But I'd like to show you more. So if I will select the definition and go back to the sketch, and I will close the loop, the system, right now I work with surfaces, so if I will only would like to see the final version, no, I don't want to use the surfaces, I like to create a solid. Right now you can see the system change the colors. Okay, so right now it's a solid model, but we don't want to use and create a solid model. We would like to use the Revolve feature, and again I like to use the preview sketch, and in the sketch I like to create similar shape and close, and Revolve feature ask me about the center line, and will be surface modeling. So you can see here again two different colors, that if you create the solid model, it's defined by different color, like if you create a surfaces. So it's really easy to recognize what was defined as a solid model or as a surface. You can specify the thickness for the line. So I will select something bigger. In my sketch, it was created only one line. I have specified that this line is a 5 mm of a thick, and for better explanation you can see here. And how it's work. If you create only line or open sketch, you can specify that you would like to add material as a solid model with specified thickness. The system can add material on the one side of the sketch, or inside of the sketch, or symmetrically. So if I specify the different thickness again, you can see here I can go outside from the sketch, inside from the sketch, or symmetrically. So right now it's up to you how you would like to specify the thickness and angle, and you have finished your sketch. I'd like to thank you for time, and in today's video tutorials you have seen a couple of examples how you can use and edit Revolve feature with Creo Parametric 4.0. Hi folks, in today's video tutorials I'd like to focus on the sketch feature in the Creo Parametric 4.0. For better explanation, I will create a solid model with you have to specify some names, and you can see here that I will start directly from the Extrude feature, and my sketch plane will be, for example, the front. I said that for better explanation, I would like to define some shape for the extrude feature. So for the quick example, I will make a symmetric extrude feature. Okay. If you are working with 3D models, you have to many times specify, for example, the extrude feature, revolve feature, or another type of features, and inside of this feature is necessary to define the section. Or you can select the sketch feature and directly use and create 2D curves. I like to focus on the sketch functions, and for better explanation, I will create another extrude feature. You can see here that directly from the ribbon it's possible to select the icon create extrude feature, or you can select the map key X, or if you select the sketch plane, you can specify the another feature, for example, extrude revolve feature, and so on. Okay, so we would like to focus on the sketch. So I will select this surface as my sketch plane, and for better visualization I can switch the shading with edges. You can see here the system automatically spin the model directly in the sketch for the extrude 2, and if you spin the model you can select this icon and system again jump to sketch view. Over here is the question if you would like to use this orientation or you would like to specify your custom one. So for the sketch, at the beginning is necessary to set up the correct orientation. The best practice is if you will prepare your orientation directly in 3D. So before you start work with extrude feature, for example, you would like to see the orientation of this 3D model directly here. So I will select the extrude feature and the system will spin the model directly in the sketch only a little bit. Yeah, you can see here that the spinning model was not so. If I will jump and orient model a little bit right now and will select again extrude feature, the system will spin and orient model correctly for me. Okay, so right now you know how to prepare your 3D model if you would like to create a sketch and the system will create a correct orientation in the sketch. Here is the question if you are satisfied or you would like to modify this orientation. We have a couple of examples how to orient the sketch, and the first one is the sketch setup. So if I will select the sketch setup, you can see here that system will show me which surface is my sketch plane and orientation plane. Yeah, and you can see here that you can select, for example, different orientation plane, so I can remove it, or I can select another one and set the placement. Yeah, so for example, I'd like to use the selected surface on the right side, and the system will spin the 3D model directly how I need for my sketch. Okay, so this is the first orientation. Directly, if you finish the sketch orientation, the system will select some references. And you know that in the sketch is necessary to specify the references if you would like to attach some line, arcs, circles, and so on for a sketch. So right now, the system will select this button references and you can add the another references. Yeah, you can set and add how many references or how many you need in your sketch. And the question is, for what is it good, these references? These references, again, you can use for your orientation. So another new things in Creo is if you select reference directly in the sketch and you use the right mouse button, over there is the function section orientation. And you can use this reference, for example, as horizontal, and the system will orient that reference as horizontal, or you can select another one, right mouse button, and select again, for example, horizontal. The question is how it works with sketch setup. the sketch setup is independent of this orientation. So if you jump here again, you can see here that I have selected the first sketch plane, and this is my orientation plane. Yeah? So the system doesn't care what you have specified in sketch setup, because you have specified the modification of the orientation directly in the sketch. So right now you know how to orient the model directly, for example, for the sketch setup, or base it on the references. If you add another reference, for example this one, again you can spin and orient like you need, for example vertical. Yeah. And the question is how the system will have a look on the 3D model. In the right mouse button section orientation, you can see here, then you can have a look from front to back or opposite. So you can flip sketching plane and the system will going the opposite direction. If I will go back to sketch view, I can see here that my sketch plane is on the back, or yeah, it's on the back. Or if I select sketch orientation, flip sketch plane, right now I can see that it's in front of. Yeah, so you can see here it directly is in front of the sketch. In the right mouse button you have a lot of possibilities what to do. You can restore section orientation, you can flip section orientation. Yeah, so what does it mean? You have select this reference as the orientation is vertical, but you would like to see it opposite way, so no problem. You can set flip section orientation and system will spin the model about 180 degrees again. And here is the question. If you will delete some reference, yeah, I will delete some reference. And for example, later you would like to add this reference, because if you would like to create a line, you would like to directly snap to the existing lines. You can, it's not problem. You can select the reference window and you can select any line, surface or edge directly from 3D and add these features as the reference. And if you use these references in your sketch, the system will remember. For example, I will create really easy rectangle, I will connect only 2 edges. Yeah, you can see here that I will attach my sketch directly to 2 references. And the system automatically will remove unused references. So if I will confirm this sketch, and then I will go back to the sketch, so you can see here placement and edit, the system removed the references. So that's perfect. You can add how many references you need and the system will use only what you select. So for now, you know how to use the sketch setup and how to use the references in the sketch. And you will ask me if it is possible to add references on the fly. And I said, yes, no problem. You can delete the sketch. Yeah, I'd like to focus over here. And I'd like to create another lines or shape. So I will create a new line. You can see here, the system will automatically snap the edge of existing edge and the system will automatically add this reference. Or you can use the Alt key and select the surface or edge and you will add the reference on the fly. And you can follow and finish your sketch. For example, create standard lines. So here is the answer how to create references on the fly. And what about the another features? I will go straight on and create another features, so we can add the another objects, for example extrude, and continue. If I will create the extrude feature and I will go straight on, you can see here that we would like to create, for example, for this extrude feature directly in the sketch, the axis. Yeah, for what is it good? Because next time I'd like to use it here, some hole on this axis. The best practice is jump in the sketch, select the definition, and in the sketch, create a datum point. If you create in the sketch datum point, for example here, the system will transform this point into axis while the system will create the extrude feature. Yeah, so you can see here right now the system created for me the axis. This axis was placed directly in the section for extrude feature. And what about another datum features in the sketch? If you will create only sketch, it means you would like to create the 2D curves. Again, you can use the map key from the keyboard S and the system will create a sketch for you, or you can select the sketch surface or sketch plane, and over there is the layout menu and you can select the sketch. And over here in that sketch I'd like to create, for example, coordinate system, or I'd like to create a couple of points, or I'd like to create a center line. Okay? For example, more than one, it will be good for visualization. So in that sketch, I have created only axis, points, and coordinate system directly from this ribbon, from this group. If I will confirm OK, you can see directly in 3D that system created for me in the sketch coordinate system, a few points or axis. And in the future you can use these lines or datum planes, datum features for your another features, for example Revolve and so on. So again, you have learned how to create datum features directly in the sketch. But what about another options, what we have to do or what we can do in the sketch? I don't want to see datum features right now, so I will continue with extrude feature again. And over here I'd like to create and use some another feature. If you would like to create the line, is not problem. You can select the left mouse click and create the necessary shape, and you can see here that system automatically snap some constraints. For example, you would like to create the shape like this, but sometimes you make a mistakes and you don't specify the correct placement of the point. Yeah, that point I have select and place it not correctly. It was not select horizontally. So you can select right mouse button and over there you have the function set horizontal, and that line will be created horizontally. Or you can select another line and set vertical. So you can work with constraints directly from the menu. The best practice is if you create some shape and over there you would like to create, for example, perpendicular or parallel, equal and so on, you can, while you see the icon, you can use the right mouse button and the system will lock these constraints for you, and then the system, you can move the mouse and system will always create a perpendicular constraint, for example. Or again, if I would like to use the parallel, I can select right mouse button and system will lock this information for me. And again, you would like to use the coincident, no problem, select right mouse button. Yeah, and confirm. And again, you would like to go here or somewhere, no problem, the system will show you what constraints you can use. If you don't want to use, for example, this coincident, you can select 2 times right mouse button and the system will never use the coincident. But the question is, I'd like to use it in the future. Yeah, no problem. Select the right mouse button one more time and you can again lock this coincident and the system will snap it. And what about the lines here? Sometimes you need to move that point, this existing point, or you can create a corner. It's up to you. You can use the corner and the system will create a corner between selected lines, or I use them many times that I like to select the edge and select Control button and I like to move it. And you can see here the system automatically again create a coincident for me, and the system will close the sketch. And what about arc? Again, it works same. You would like to, for example, snap it here, lock, confirm, and select the another one and create some arc. And yeah, I will select the end, and with control button I will extend it. What is necessary to do? Delete these lines. Again, it's up to you. You can use the control button. Yep. For better visualization, I will switch off the dimensions, or I can switch off the coincident again, and in the future I can switch in. So this point I like to move it, and system will snap. So you can really easy modify the shape of the existing line. Or again, no problem, you can use the delete segment, and the system will show you the trimming line, and if you go through the existing line, the system will trim the existing line here. Again, if you would like to work with dimensions or constraints, you can switch on, switch off. For example, you can use the grid or select visualization of these points. Okay, so right now you know a little bit how to work with constraints. You know that is possible to create the objects, for example lines or arc and so on, and then you can lock the constraints. Or you can create a shape, for example like this, and then you can use the right mouse button and select the possible constraints. Or you can select, for example, the constraints directly from the ribbon and use these constraints. Yeah, for example, parallel or perpendicular, and select references. If you select the more than 2 references here, the system will show you more possibilities for constraints. So for example, like this, or I like to specify the same length. If you would like to delete some constraints, no problem, you can select the constraints and use the delete from the keyboard, and the system will again show you and create the dimensions necessary. Okay, it was some example how to use the constraints. And what about the manipulation in the sketch? I will spin again my sketch into 2D. We can delete unnecessary edges, and I'd like to show you how you can work with symmetric object, for example. The best practice is if you are working with the center line, yeah, because you will create a center line, for example here, and then you can on the left side create some special shape. I will delete that constraints, and we can change the shape here. Okay. If you would like to make a mirror shape, you can select the sketch, and then the system will show you the mirror button. If you use the mirror button, the system will show you select the center line, and if you select the center line, the system will create a symmetric sketch for you. Yeah, so it's really easy. If you modify one line, the system will show you everything. If you create a dimension, it's not problem. You can select the references, and you will see the dimensions, or you can continue and create and confirm with middle button. Yeah, so select one reference and confirm middle button and set the dimensions, for example 150, or select more than 2 references and confirm again. What's happened right now? On the left side and right side I specify the same dimensions. Sometimes it's necessary to see both dimensions on the left side and right side, but system check if you create unnecessary dimensions. If you create more than one or same dimensions, you can specify create reference dimensions, and that reference dimension will be something like in the bracket, yeah, information dimensions. So if you will change that one, for example 45 degree, the reference dimension will be modified. Again, you would like to create a reference dimension, no problem, create the same, and then you can choose which one will be reference. For example, on the left side will be reference dimensions. Okay, so right now you know how to specify and create the dimension in the sketch and how to create the symmetric objects. What about next? I'd like to continue on that sketch. I don't want to create a lot of new sketches here, so I'd like to continue. And for example, I'd like to focus on the feature what is defined here, that we would like to create a projection. So if we need to project some existing edges or lines, you can select the function create a project feature, and the system asks you if we would like to create a single edge. So I'd like to select that edge, and the system will automatically project this edge. Yeah. If I will select another edge, the system will add the projection here. What about chain? It means you would like to select the chain from more than one selected references, or you would like to use the loop. So I like to project the loop, and I will select only surface, and system automatically select all necessary edges on that surface. So it's unnecessary select step by step. It's working similar with offset. Yeah. So I will go back. I will use the function offset, and I would like to use the loop and that surface. The system will show me if I would like to go inside or outside. If I would like to go outside, it's a negative value, so minus 15, for example. If I will confirm, you can see the system will automatically create correct shape for me. Yeah, so if I will confirm, right now it's 15 millimeters from every selected edges. Go back to sketch, is no problem, like here. And what about thickness? The thickness is, I will delete again this one, and I'd like to show you how to work with thickness. If you will select the thickness function, the system will ask you if you would like to work with single or chain or loops. Okay, over here I'd like to show you how to work with chain, and for example I'd like to use the circular shape. We will see the final result, and then I will explain to you what does it mean open, flat and circular. Right now the system will ask me for more than one edge, so I will select the first one and another one. The system will select if I would like to this one or next one. Yeah, so I can choose which I would like to use, and if I will confirm, the system will ask me enter thickness. So for example, I'd like to use the thickness 5, and then the system asks me if I would like to go inside or outside. So we can go, for example, inside. It means 25 millimeters, and I have used the circular. So you can see here that my thickness is 5, I specified a 5, and offset was defined by dimensions, yeah, offset dimensions. And open, flat and circular. Open means that you don't want to see that curve. If you will specify flat, it will be straight line, and if you use the circular, over here is the example. Yeah. So if I would like to go the opposite way, I like to use the single, for example, open, and then we would like to select that edge and go, for example, thickness 20 and minus 50. And right now you can see what the system will create for me. It's offsetted with 50 millimeters, and thickness is 20, and the ends is opened. Yeah, so right now you know how to work with offset, thickness and project features here. And what about next? Over here you have a lot of different possibilities how to create corner lines, and these features are so easy that it's not hard to explain, and I like to focus on more used features. And for example, you would like to create the shape from the palette. If you use the shape from palette, the system will load the default palettes, what is defined by PTC company, or you can set the custom configuration options, and if you specify this configuration options, and in the file, in the folder, you will specify your custom sketches, you can see here your custom sketch palette tab. For now I use the default visualization, so I like to use, for example, this U profile or I profile. You can have a look how it looks, or you can drag and drop and move it. If I will spin again, you can move it anywhere, or you would like to place it directly on some reference. Yeah, so what does it mean? If I would like to place it directly on the reference, yeah, for example, I have specified that vertex as reference, and then I will move that point. You can see here the system will automatically snap to my reference. I can change the scale, I can spin that sketch, or you can select right mouse button and you can move the moving point. Yeah, so right now the system will spin that point to this my selected sketch. So it's not a problem, you can confirm, and again you can create your custom dimensions or edit the sketch. This sketch is independent, so if you would like to modify it, you can create, for example, another circle and make some modification there. Yeah, so for example, I like to delete that shape. It will be nice. Yeah. And if you confirm OK, again, the system will show you the final results. Okay, go back to sketch, and I'd like to show you more. So here's the question: if I have placed my sketch correctly, maybe no, maybe yeah, I don't know, we will see. So you can select the existing sketch and you can use the function rotate and resize. If you use the function rotate and resize, you can move the existing sketch. You can move this function any sketch what you create. And again, you can place the moving point on different way. I have select right mouse button, and with left mouse button I can place it, I can spin, and so on. Or again, you can change the scale, it's up to you. Yeah, for example, like this. Again, if you would like to move it a little bit, you can move and you can place. And if you confirm, you have specified new placement. And I said it is working with any sketch, so I can create my custom sketch. For example, I'd like to use the ellipse and this one. And again, I like to move it. Yeah, you know that it's possible to move. And maybe you would like to spin around the some point. So select the sketch, rotate. You can use the right mouse button and place, and again rotate. Yeah. And if you finish, you have set new position for your sketch. So editing tools are really useful, and I like to focus on the function create a divide, or how to use the divide. Best example how to use the divide is, if I will go to 2D and I will hide it a little bit, and the question is if it is possible to create a line, for example, and from that line I'd like to create, for example, a rectangle. And you say, oh, it's only one line, it's not possible. Okay, for now, again, I will switch off the dimensions, and I like to focus on that one line. You can use the divide, and you can select the divided points. So I will one line divided on the 4 different one, and you can see here that it's the possible to delete the constraints. Yeah, you can go and select the step by step, and then you can move that point. So from the line I have created something strange. I have created unclosed line, and right now you know that it's possible to move the point, or you can create a corner. It's up to you what is better for you. And then you can use the function create a constraints, and it's up to you which constraints you use. If you use directly the selected objects, or you can use the button from the ribbon. So I would like to use, for example, perpendicular between 2, 1 and parallel is unnecessary. I like to use the equal. Yeah, perfect. What is necessary to do it? We can select horizontal, and that will be horizontal. So you can see here how it's possible to create from one line the closed shape. And you can use again this function if you work with arc, for example, and you specify this one, and then you need to create another shape here. You can use the divide function and select divided points, for example, like this, and then you can delete and add another shape here. Yeah, it depends what you need and how you would like to specify. And then again, delete unnecessary line. Create the dimensions and finish your shape. Right now, you know how to specify the sketch setup references, how to work with datum features, how to specify some objects from the sketch group. You know how to edit the sketch and how to use the constraint. I have explained for you how to work with dimension, but only a little bit. And then we need to inspect the sketch. So right now I'd like to focus on some dimensions. What does it mean? Okay, we would like to create, for example, line. This line can be horizontal. And then I would like to create the arc. And if you will select the arc and you will follow the line, the system will create automatic tangent feature for you. Or if you don't want to use the tangent, you need to go perpendicular. And right now it's not tangent to selected edge. Yeah, so it's up to you how you work with combination of the line and arc feature. And what about dimension? I will create a tangent between these two objects, and I don't want to use the whole object. And the question is that right now the radius of that arc is 22. You can see here that in right mouse button the system shows you what you can do with selected feature. For example, you can change this diameter to diameter, well, this radial dimension to diameter, and right now you can see the system will create for you the diameter dimensions, or you can go back and it will be radius. This is the linear dimension, and the question is if we would like to create the different kind of the dimension. You can create the dimensions, you can select arc and then two ends of the arc and middle button. If you see here, the system will create the new dimension for you, and this is the length of that curve. So you can see here the system will create for you dimension defined by length. If I will delete it, and sometimes you need to specify the angle of the arc. If you would like to create the dimension of the angle of the arc, you can select dimensions and you can select end of the arc, midpoint or center point, and again end of line and middle button. And right now the system will create for you angle, for example 125 or something less, for example 45. Yeah, so this is a 45 degree. Over here we can see that I have created one straight line and some arc. this line will be length, for example, 150, and for example, I will delete this line and create one more time length of that curve. It will be 50. It means that altogether is 200. But sometimes you don't want to count the length of these two lines. You can create a parameter dimensions directly in the sketch. It means you can select the objects, one, two, oh, one is not necessary. Select more than two objects or two and more. If you select the parameter dimension, system will ask you select dimension to be driven as parameter. For example, that 150 will be driven. And you can see here the system will create for you dimension that two curves are 200 millimeters of the length. And if you select double click, and for example, I will select that I'd like to use only 100, the system will automatically change that dimensions that is only 50 millimeters. Yeah, again, if I will change the length of the curve, the system will change these dimensions. Again, I like to use the 100, the system will automatically count that two dimensions altogether. If I will delete this dimension, no problem, because maybe you would like to draw with these dimensions, but always it will be 100. If I will select, for example, 15, you can see here the system will change it for me. Okay, right now that you know how it's work with dimensions, but sometimes you need to modify these dimensions. You can select again the icon from the flyout menu and use modify. In my video tutorials, you can see that I use this function many times. I many times use the log scale. You have seen it many times and I want to go back. But I like to focus on the modification, because over here you can dynamically see that the system will set 100 millimeters for both lines. And if I will specify a modification of that curve, of that dimension, the system will change my variable dimension. You can change the sensitivity. It means how quickly you would like to modify it. Or you can directly set dimensions from here, is no problem. Yeah, and that one will be, for example, 30. And that one will be 150. Okay. So we have a lot of possibilities how to work with dimensions. I will cancel this sketch and I would like to go to Revolve feature. And for the Revolve feature is really good if you work with the Revolve feature, and if you will create the shape and then you will create axis of revolution. So axis of revolution is that center line, and you can see here that system will automatically spin my sketch around this axis of revolution. If I will go back to the sketch and you would like to create, for example, symmetric sketch here, yes, so you can use this center line or right mouse button and create the center line. And you can place it directly here. You can destroy these constraints, and then you can change it a little bit, and what is necessary to do, and set the symmetrical objects. So you can see here that right now I can select 2 point and center line, and the system asks me if I would like to use the horizontal point or midpoint and so on. So you can see here that over there I have a lot of constraints, so I have to delete one of them, and then the system will create symmetrical shape for me. Or on the other side I can use the point, center line, and another point. Yeah. So right now you can see that if I will confirm OK, the system will create correct Revolve feature for me. One more time, in the sketch, in the Revolve feature, we have two possibilities. Create a center line as axis of revolution or center line directly for the symmetric constraints. And what about if you need to check if your sketch is correctly closed? I will create new sketch, and in that sketch I like to focus if my sketch is correctly created. You can see here that right now I create a sketch. If you create only sketch, for example rectangle, yeah, I will confirm I have created everything. And you can use this sketch, for example, for the extrude feature, or on the opposite way, I can use that sketch for the Revolve feature, and this is my axis of revolution. We can switch off or switch on if you would like to add material or delete material. Yeah, you can see right now that I use the one sketch, and if I will edit that sketch, the system will change the extrude feature and Revolve feature for me. How it works? I have created one sketch here, and extrude feature use the sketch 2, and Revolve feature use the sketch 2. Here is the question: if you would like to unlink one sketch, for example, extrude 2 will be use his custom sketch. So select extrude feature, edit definition, and over here in placement tab you can see here that my sketch 2 is linked with this extrude feature. If you use the unlink, the system will create for you embedded sketch, and you can see here directly in the model tree that extrude 3 use the section 1. If you change this one, the system will create independent modification. Okay, so right now you can see that I have used two different ones, and if I select section 2, we can edit section 2 and change the shape of the section 2. This sketch 2 is connected to Revolve 2. Okay, so right now you know how to disconnect the existing sketch to any feature. And what about another options if you need to check if your sketch is okay? If you create outside sketch and if you create some mistakes, for example, you would like to create a corner rectangle, then you will create on this line another line. You can see it a little bit because over here is the red points. But if you confirm OK, it's no problem. For the sketch is fine, but you know that sketch has some problem. And then how you know it? Because you would like to use it for the extrude feature like here, and it's not working. So I'm sorry, it's not working, we have some problem. And then you have to go back in the sketch 3, edit definition, and have a look and investigate what is wrong. Over here we have some inspect features. For example, closed loop or highlight open ends. You can see opened ends. And the last thing what is here is the overlapping geometry. If you select this icon, the system will show you directly in the sketch the overlapping geometry, and you can select delete unwanted edges or lines, and then the system will show you correct closed loop. Yeah, you can see if I switch off, it's not possible to see closed loop. If I switch on, it's default, it's always show. The system will always show me this information so I can check it. If I will create something inside, it's okay. If I will move it a little bit, the system will show me, sorry, you have some intersecting or overlapping geometry. So over here you can investigate your sketch, and with dynamic preview you can see if it is possible to create and use it, for example, for extrude or Revolve feature or not. The better practice is if you create the feature directly in 2D. I hope so. Did you like my example how to work with sketch features with Creo Parametric 4.0? Hi folks, in today's video tutorial I'd like to show you how to work with whole feature with Creo Parametric 4.0. We will start from scratch and we will define the whole name. If we would like to create a whole feature, we need to create some Revolve or Extrude feature. It's mean based solid features. I will create some really easy shape with symmetric rectangle, and you can see the system automatically create the dimension for me. We can edit it or directly confirm OK and later modify it. Okay, I will hide all unnecessary datum features, and I don't want the spin model around the middle object, so I will turn it on, the spin center. Yeah. We have a couple of type of hole, and I'd like to show you step by step all types of hole. If you would like to create a whole feature, the easiest way how to create it, you can select the hole directly from the ribbon and select the surface. The system will show you 2 points, and these 2 points, the green one, you can set as reference. You can select surface or edge. It depends what you would like to set as reference. I prefer to select the surfaces. It's much better. So right now you can see really easy drag and drop the green draggers, and the system will show you 2 dimensions, for example X and Y. Yeah. For the whole you need to specify dimensions and depth. You can see everything is possible to specify from the 3D window or 3D menu, or you can use the ribbon for the whole. If you would like to create the same hole but you don't want to use the dragger, you can select the whole feature from the ribbon, select the primary surface, and you can see the selected surface is placed here. And over here you can see the offset references. So you don't need to use the dragger. You can click here and choose the offset references. And offset references are defined here in this menu. If you would like to change it, you can remove one or more, and again with control button you can choose the different one, or you can use this dragger and move it to another reference. What is necessary to do is define the offset dimensions, diameter and depth. If you would like to focus on the different kind of the hole, and if you would like to specify the depth, I will create another shape here. For example like this, and you can apply the connection or add some another dimensions. Yeah, you don't care about dimensions, you can see the system automatically show it everything for you. Okay, so I like the extrude feature on the backside surface. You can really easily select the shift button and the snap to that surface, and system will create function to select it. So the system automatically jump from the specification of the depth to the selected reference. And right now I will move my hole to, and the system read the model tree like you see here from top to bottom. Some extrude, hole 1, extrude 2 and hole 2. My hole is definite. We can check if I use the edit definition. The depth is with dimensions, so you can see that the system will create necessary hole. The question is, if you would like to specify different kind of the depth, you can choose the menu here, and for example you would like to select the next surface. For this hole, next surface is this bottom surface. Or you can use through all, and the system will go through all surfaces. Yeah, you can see the system will create a through. Or you can specify two different options for the selected surfaces. I prefer this kind of selection because you don't care if the surface exists or not. I will show you different example what I mean. So I prefer this one, and you can see that I can choose the surface or edge. Again, the better one is if you select the surface. Why don't you use the edge? Because if you will create on this edge, for example, the round feature or chamfer feature, you will lose the reference and you need to repair the whole feature. And again, if you will specify the depth, you can use the dragger shift button and select the references. Yeah, and the system will snap automatically to selected objects. Okay. I said that we would like to think about and understand the depth for the hole. So right now you know how to specify the depth for the holes. Again, you can create a hole on over here, for example, and right now I'd like to select the offset references. So you can select the drop-down menu from the placement, or again, another type is if you select offset references from the right mouse button. Again, I like this function because it's really easy and really quick. Specification of the depth with shift button, you select and system will automatically specify to select it. Okay. So right now you specify that you would like to create a hole from that surface at the end. The question is that you would like to go to opposite side. So you can see here in the shape is the side 2, and you can choose different kinds of the depth. For example, set the number or 2 next, through all, and so on. Yeah? So on the second side, I like to go with dimensions, and my dimension will be, for example, 90 millimeters. Yeah. So right now I will a little bit repair my geometry. I will delete that hole, and in the view tab I'd like to work with section because I'd like to show you how the hole looks like. Yeah. So this is my hole, and again if I select edit and will specify this is the depth for side 2. Yeah, you can see here, or you can specify side 1 here. Okay, so right now you know how to work with different kind of depth for the hole. I like to focus more, so I will deactivate the section, and we would like to create different kind of holes. If I will select one more time the hole feature here, you can see in the shape mode the system will create shape like this. But sometimes you need to specify the standard drill shape. Yeah, you can see here. And right now if you select the placement, again I would select the references with control button. Do not forget more than one objects, and right now the system will create for you shape like we need. So it's really perfect because we have a dynamic preview, and you can see the system will create the trailing bit for me. You can specify the depth again here if you would like to use the shoulder or tip. Yeah, and system will specify different type. Or you can change the angle. The default angle for the standard bit is 118. But it's no problem, you can change it if you want, or if you have different kind of. Okay, so right now you know how to work with this type. But if you select this standard hole, the system will create another 2 possibilities for you how you can modify this hole here. And it means that you can specify the automatically the more than one shape, and you can combine these shapes by selecting this icon, and you can see here the system allows to you the specified dimensions, and you can choose what you want. Yeah. So for example, you can really easy add the contour bore. Set dimensions and confirm. Yeah, and system will create for you the correct hole. For now, you know how to work with standard hole and contour bore hole, for example. This hole was defined as linear placement. What I mean, if you create a hole and place this hole, yeah, the system will automatically place everything as linear. It means the placement is specified by dimensions x and y. But sometimes you need to create different kind of holes. For example, I will delete all features and I will create a revolve. And for example, like this. For the revolve feature, we would like to apply the center line, and I don't care about the dimensions, we can change it, it's no problem. Yeah, so for now the system will create for me really huge the sketch, so it's not problem. We can change it. For example, right mouse button, you can choose the modify, and I will use the log scale function here, and I'd like to change these dimensions. Yeah, this dimension, for example, I'd like to see as 150. The system will automatically change all another dimension for me, and my base dimension is 150. Yeah, and right now you can really easy change the another dimensions, and the system will change it for you. Okay, so we have created the real feature for another type of holes. And the second type of hole is if you would like to place the hole directly over here, but you don't want to use the XY or linear positions. Yeah, no, I don't want to use this one. So you can go away, and in the placement tab you can change the type hole, for example, to radial or diameter. If you would like to work with radial, the system will ask you select two references, one plane and edge or axis. So okay, select axis and select the plane, and the system will create for you radius and angle. So you can see here, you can change the angle, for example, 125 and radius 55. Diameter for the hole and depth is possible to change. Yeah, so it's up to you. We can go through all. Okay, so right now I have created radial dimensions. If you would like to specify the diameter, you can only change these options and system will automatically create the diameter dimension for this hole. This type of hole is really good if you need to use the pattern feature and you would like to apply, for example, every 45 degrees will be altogether 8 holes. Yeah, perfect. So it's good, it looks good. And for now, you would like to work with hole feature one more time. Yeah, you can apply hole, create a hole, and right now I'd like to create a hole on that axis. So you can see here the system automatically changes option to coaxial. But in placement tab, you need to select more than one option. It means select axis and control button and start surface. And you can see the system will create for you coaxial hole. For now, you know how to create linear, radial, diameter and coaxial holes. Same logic we can use on existing one. Yeah, so create a hole, and with control button I will select axis and start surface. We can change the shape and depth. Yeah. So I will create something like contour board, but it will be more than one feature in the model tree. It doesn't matter. The Creo is feature based, so it's much better if you create more than one feature. You can really easy modify this feature directly and found it. Yeah. Okay. So I have created the another type of coaxial hole here. And again, you can use the pattern feature and the system automatically recognize that it's the reference pattern. So if you confirm, the system will create the features on the existing pattern. Yeah, that's good. And another question is, if it is all about the holes, or we can create something more. Yeah, no problem. So we would like to continue, and I'd like to create a hole on that surface. Okay, select the surface, and right now we need to specify that the first dimension will be offsetted from that surface. Yes, so right now you can see the system will create for me the offset dimensions, and then that hole is oriented directly to the middle axis. So it will be good if you will specify the angle. So select the middle plane, and the system will create for you the, I will change the dimension a little bit. Yeah. And you can see the system is always oriented directly to the middle axis and offsetted by dimension. You can see all dimension here. So selected surface is this one, and offset references is surface and datum plane. So you can change the dimension here directly, and for example 45 degrees. But somebody asked me if it is possible to set a different orientation. Yeah, you would like to create a hole here, but you don't want to orient that hole directly to the middle axis. Yeah, directly here, but you want to go perpendicular to that datum plane. So no problem, you can see here the system will change it directly and looks nice. So over here is the hole orientation. You can remove it, the system will go directly there, yeah, to the axis, or you can change the orientation of the hole. Yeah, you can see here the system will create right now the hole perpendicular to surface, the selected surface. Okay. Maybe for more better explanation is that I'd like to make some another modification. So again, I will create a really easy shape. And okay. So for example, I'd like to create a chamfer here. The chamfer will be specified with angle, and the angle will be a little bit different. Why I have created this type of the chamfer here? Because I'd like to use the whole feature over here. We can place it and specify the placement dimensions, and I'd like to orient this hole directly to that chamfer feature. And right now you can see that I can drive my whole orientation directly with this chamfer. If I will specify again the section, for example here, you can see that if I will modify the chamfer dimensions, the system will orient the hole for me. So it's not necessary to use many times, but sometimes you need to create these relationships between two features, and I like it. I hope so that you like it. This is an example 2, and for more orientation you can use, for example, datum planes or datum features. And what I mean, so I will deactivate again. So if you would like to create the hole on any surface, for example, I'd like to create hole here, yeah, and directly here, over here, on that surface, I'd like to create a hole. It's not a problem. Create a point on that surface and set placement, yeah. It means that you have specified the placement for this point. The point is placed on that surface. Specify dimensions, and if you select the hole, the system will automatically create the hole feature directly on that point. If you will move with the point, the system will move with the hole. So you have a references, and the question is, if you don't want to see this point, because this point is necessary for the hole, you can set and drag to the hole. So the system will automatically make a group here, and the point is hidden. So if you would like to edit right now, the placement for the hole is specified by this placement of the hole. Okay. And do you think so? That is everything? Nope. We have another types of hole, and it's a standard hole. For example, you would like to use the ISO standard or different kind of standards. You can set the custom dimensions here. For example, you would like to create M20x2 and set placement and set reference, placement, and what the system create is, in the shape tab you can see the system will create for you hole as metric thread, yeah. If you finish, the system will create information for you. You can switch off this annotation display, and if you change the visualization for example to no hidden or hidden line, you can see here that this is the hole created in standard way, and this hole is with thread. In the drawing, it's possible again visualize this thread and show all dimensions. So you can see here that system will create for you that hole was created as M20. Okay, and if you would like to create your custom hole, no problem. Select the hole, select the placement. Yeah, you can specify the placement here. And then over here is the small icon, use sketch to define drill hole profile. If you select this function, you can jump to the sketch, and the system will allow to you to create a center line, and then you can create your custom shape of hole. So for example, I'd like to create shape like this. Don't forget that you create something like Revolve feature. And again, the hole 12 is really small one. I'd like to create, for example, 25. The best way, if you select all dimension, right mouse button modify and lock scale, and that dimensions, I will find it here. Yeah, that dimension will be 25. And every dimensions are modified automatically. What is necessary to do for this sketch is that horizontal line is placed on the top in the sketch, and that horizontal line is placed directly for the placement surface. Yeah, so for example like this, or if you change the orientation, I will remove everything and I'd like to place this hole here. Yeah, the system will create for me the dynamic preview and specify it for me. So if I finish this feature, and we will show the section, we can edit this section and we can drag it a little bit, and you can see that system create for me our hole like we need or like we specify directly in the sketch. Hello everybody, here is new video tutorials with Creo Parametric 4.0 and how to create and use round features. I will start from scratch, and while I have defined a new model name system will show me datum planes, coordinate system and everything what is defined, so you can see here directly. I will a little bit repair the visibility of the icon because the next time I'd like to switch off or switch on some necessary datum feature here. So you can select right mouse button and add or remove anything what is prepared here. I will continue with extrude feature. In extrude feature is necessary select the sketch plane and system will automatically orient the references. In the sketch you can specify axis or symmetric axis and then system automatically create symmetric rectangle in the sketch. You can change dimension by double click or select right mouse button and specify new values. You can create more than one features directly in the sketch and you can delete any segments. So I can use the function delete segments and again change the dimension. If you are satisfied with the sketch, you can confirm OK, and with dynamic preview you can select right mouse button and change the orientation. So right now I set that will be used extrude feature as symmetric, and you can specify the dimensions directly here. Okay. If I would like to show and continue with round feature, you need to select the icon from here, or you can see that I can use the quick map key and I can use the R directly from the keyboard. So if you select the icon, system asks you on which surfaces or which edges you would like to place the round. I will start with edges selection. So if I select one edge, the system automatically show me dynamic preview and I can set custom value or custom dimensions. I will expand this information window here that I have selected one set. If you select directly here the another edge, the system will specify its second edge. So this is the first one and the second one. You can change the dimension for the round feature here or directly from 3D view. The question is that I would like to specify the same round or same radius for more than one edge. So on the second side of the object I will select one edge, change the radius, and with control button I will select the opposite one. You can see right now that in the set number 3 I specify two edges, and right now if I will change the dimensions, the system will change both selected radius. You can continue. So for example, you can select the another edge and with control button the another one and specify. If you confirm, the system will create one round feature in the model tree, and if you would like to edit, the system will show you necessary dimension and you can see if it is possible and how it looks. If you set really big or huge the radius, you can see here that right now was a problem a little bit with creation, and then the system need to recalculate the round for you. It's something like this, that if I will specify the really big one, the system will show me, sorry, the round is not possible to create because it's really big. So I like this function because system automatically show you if the round feature is possible to create or not with dynamic preview. You can select edit definition function from the flyout menu And if you would like to change or add some necessary edges, you can select where do you would like to add. For example, I'd like to add to the set 2 the another edge. Yeah, so right now you can see that in set 2 I have 2 edges, and right now the system will modify everything for me. If you would like to delete some unwanted sets, you can use the right mouse button and delete the sets. So create round feature on the selected edges or manage visibility. It's really easy. The question is, if you would like to continue and you don't want to use the edges, but you would like to use the, for example, the combination of select edge, surface, and so on. So I will delete created feature, and I will change this extrude feature a little bit. So I'd like to change the sketch, and you can see here that it's possible to create a corner. Yeah, and then I can delete unwanted. If you confirm OK, the system will repair the geometry for me, and then maybe I'd like to modify a little bit like this. I will apply another extrude feature here, and in the sketch I'd like to see hidden lines, and you can see that it's possible to create the another shape. So I will continue, and for example like this. Yeah, specify dimension, confirm OK, and then you can add or remove the material. If you go inside, the system automatically remove or add. Okay, I know that you know how to do it. So I will leave it like this, and what I need to do is select and create a round feature. If I would like to create new round feature, I can specify the edge, but right now I need to select control button and specify it one more time, so you know, because I showed that it's possible. The another thing is that do you want to use not edges, but you would like to create round between two surfaces. So sometimes it's really good if you select two surfaces and the system will create for you the round feature directly on the selected surfaces, and it looks like this. I will delete again these features, and I'd like to show you more. So here is the question, if it is possible to create the round feature and select surface, control, edge. You can see the system automatically create the round feature for me, and the system always will be attached to the edge. If the round is really small, it is not attached. If you create a big one, the system will attach to this selected edge. So this is the another option how you can use the round feature. The another options that I'd like to show you, if you would like to create two surfaces. So at the beginning I will create the first round, and then I will create the another round, for example like this. And then we would like to create a new round feature. So I will select the round feature and select the two surfaces. And again, you can see the system will continue as a tangent attachment, and you can specify the radius for the created round feature and confirm. So in this quick example, you have seen that it's possible to create round feature only on the one edge or more than one edges, specify the sets. You can create round feature between selected edge and surface, or between more than one surfaces. Yeah, so for example, two surfaces. I'd like to continue on this shape and speak about selection. So again, we would like to create new round feature, and if I will create that edge and finish the feature, and then I'd like to continue and we'll select this edge, the system automatically create for me the attached and tangent round feature here. Again, on the opposite side, with control button, I will select another edge, and the system will drive these edges. Okay, but question is, if we would like to continue and go through the whole shape, and again, I will select control button and it's done. So right now I have selected 4 edges, and the system will create correct shape for me. The question is if it is possible to specify shape on the one selection. Existing edges, and I will modify it a little bit again. So something difficult, and for example like this. The question is if I will change the shape right now a little bit and then create new round feature. You can select one edge, and if you select shift and next surface, the system will create surface loop. So you can see that right now the system will create a round feature around the selected surface. Okay, opposite direction one more time. Select any edge and use shift button and surface, and the system will create for you the round feature straight on here. For what is it good? If you will create and apply any feature in front of this selected round, it means you can move the insert here. You will add some another features, for example, chamfer feature, or another round feature here. Yeah, so you a little bit destroy the geometry which was selected originally. And right now, if I will move insert here, the system create a round feature on surface connected edge. So again, I like this function, I use it many times, that I select one edge and then shift button and surface, and system will create for me the round feature on the other loop. I'd like to continue. So you can see here that one easy shape of extrude feature I can use and explain to you almost everything what is applied for the rounds. Okay, what about next? The question is, my colleague asked me, can I create a sketch and use this sketch as a driven round feature? I said, yes, it's no problem. So here is the one example. I will change the shape a little bit, and I will create new sketch, and my sketch plane will be that surface, and I'm satisfied with the orientation. Over here, I like to create a spline, and for example, I will start right from here, and this is the final shape of my round feature. So I'd like to show you how you can create a variable round feature based on the curve. The curve exists on my 3D model, and I can create a round. The system asks me, you can see here that I need to select reference. So I will select the edge reference, but I don't want to use the standard round feature. I'd like to create variable. So, and over here you can see that is the function true curve. If you select this function, the system asks you, can you select the curve? Okay, I'd like to select the curve. And right now you can see the system will create for me variable round based on the curve. I will go back in my sketch and change the shape, for example, a little bit. So I'd like to change the shape of my spline. So you can select double click and use the add point, and you can move right now here or add or remove the points. Yeah. And if I come from OK and come from OK, the system will create variable round for me based on the curve. Okay, this is the first example how you can use the variable round. There is the question if it's possible to create different kind of variable round feature. Okay, so we can continue. Select the edge, and if you use this point, it means that you would like to change the radius. You can use the right mouse button here and use the function add radius. For now, you have specified that you would like to use the 2 points at the beginning and at the end, and it will be a variable round. Okay, but again, can I create more than 1 or 2 dimensions variable rounds? Yeah, no problem. Select again right mouse button and add radius. And right now you can see the system create for you the moving point on the selected edge. This moving point has a dimension, and if you select, it's a percentage value. So if you would like to be in the middle of the curve, you can select the number 0.5, and radius, the selected radius will be directly in the middle. Or if you specify the different kind of radius manually, or you can select and drag, no problem. And you can change, for example, 20% of the end or another side. It's mean 80%. Yeah, 0.8. And if you finish, the system will create for you variable round. This variable round was created on one selected edge. The question is if you would like to create a variable round here. No problem. Select the edge. System will create continuous round, and again select right mouse button and specify value. If you would like to continue, you can use the add radius and move. Right now the system will move on the first selected edge, but no problem, you can drag and continue and system will jump to another one. Yeah, so again you can use the add radius or delete, and you can move and change. So how many radius point you would like to add, you can specify. And you can use the every line from the selected edge. And if I confirm, I have variable round created on my 3D model. That sounds good. Another question is, if you select the round, the system automatically continue on the selected edge. Yeah, you can see here the system continue on the selected edge. But sometimes it's not good because you would like to stop this round feature. Yeah, so it means I'd like to create a round only on this edge. I don't want to continue. Over here in the ribbon you can find the pieces, and right now I have pieces 1. So if you only select the pieces 1, you can drag this option and set I'd like to create the round feature on only first piece, and the system will create something like this. Yeah. So I hope so that you like this function. I use it many times. And I can set only one piece or more than one piece on the selected edges. That's good. Another option is, if I would like to create another round feature on that edge, but I don't want to use whole selected edge, I'd like to use only a few percentage, yeah? So how I can use it? Okay, don't create a round feature, but at the beginning to create a point. It's the quick way how you can specify the reference. And then if you have a created point, you can see here that you can specify the ratio. It means again, if you select 0.5, it will be in the middle. Or if you select 0.2 or 0.25, it will be the quarter of the selected edge. You can specify the next end, it's depending where you would like to stop, or you can set the real numbers, so which will mean 90 millimeters from the start point. So specify the placement for the reference point. And right now I would like to see the point here, so switch off. And you can see that right now the system will show me only point. In the View tab, you can switch on the point tag for displaying, and right now you can see the name of the point what you have created. Go back to Model tab and select Round Feature. And if I will select the edge, the system will create for me the round. Yeah, I like to speak about more in the transition. So you can see here there is a transition tab. And over here is the icon switch to transition mode. So if I will go here, the system will show me that end of the round feature is based on some transition on the left side or right side. If I will select the left side and right mouse button, the system will show me how can I work with this transition. And I'd like to stop at reference, and my reference will be point. That's good. So here is the example how you can stop a round feature on any selected reference. The reference can be point or datum planes. You can try. And for now, you can again create on the small edge, for example, something like this, and again, another round feature here between two surfaces, and finish. So I hope so that you like the example how you can stop at any selected reference. I have started to speak and show you how you can work with transition. So if I would like to show you more about transition, I will delete all created features, all round features, and I will again change the shape a little bit. So for example, it looks like this. And we have spoken that it's possible to create round feature on selected edge. So you can select one edge and specify the radius. And if you select another edge and specify different kind of the radius here, the system will create for you the intersection of these two radius. Sorry, it's better example if I will select more than two edges. So I will add another one, and you can see here the system will work with transition here and specify for me intersect. Yeah, you can see that final result will be intersect, corner shape, or round only. So if I will finish, you can see that right now I have round only, or I can select the definition and choose again from drop down menu or right mouse button and use, for example, intersect. So the system will change the intersection of the three rounds by transition mode. You can specify this transition again if you will work with different kind of round feature, and again you can see here that the system will create for you some transition. Yeah, it depends about the shape what you have here, and you can specify how you would like to stop the round feature, and the system will change a little bit the end of the round. Okay, sometimes you can create the small round feature And then, if you specify the round feature between two surfaces, you can create a bigger one. This kind of the creation of the round feature is useful if you have a problems with small surfaces and it's really hard to create the bigger radius. So it's something like tip how to modify and create rounds. We can go back and delete these examples, and I'd like to show you how you can create full round feature. I will change the shape again a little bit and something bigger. Okay, so if I will create a round feature, and if you select the first edge and control button second edge, you need to create sometimes full round. It means you need to specify correct dimension here, so you need to automatically attach these edges. You don't need to find the dimension, no problem. You can use the sets, and over there is the function full round. If you will select the function full round, the system will create a full round for you. And if you would like to continue, no problem, you can select the another edge and control button, and again you can select the button full round or select right mouse button and function full round. So this is my example how I use the full round feature, and it worked for outside edges, or if I will create new extrude feature, and for example like this, yeah, and I can create the full round feature here. I like the Creo because it's not necessary to spin the model, because the system automatically recognizes inner edges, and you can use the right mouse button full round, and again you can see here there's a system create the first sets for you, and you can select another edge and another one and full round. So you can combine right mouse button or selection from the sets. Okay, so it was a quick example how you can use the full round feature. And you ask me, it's enough? It's not possible to select surfaces? Yeah, no problem, you can select surfaces too. So here is the quick example how you can create round feature, full round feature with selected surfaces. So select the round feature, select opposite surfaces, and system asks you over here that you can select top surface for full round. So select the top surface and system will create full round for you. And again, if you change the shape, the system will always create the full round feature with dynamic preview. Yeah. Okay, so it was a quick example how to use the full round feature. I'd like to show you that sometimes if you create the complicated shape, it's really hard to create the round feature. I will create new sketch, and in the new sketch it will be only two lines directly from the surface, and you can see here that I like to show you how to create and use the sweep feature with Creo Parametric 4.0. It will be only a quick example, because with sweep feature we again create more and more. So quick example how to use the sweep feature. Yeah, select sweep feature and select the curve, and in the sketch I will create some center line. So circle, and for example like this. Something bigger is okay. Right now the system do not connect the surface, but not problem. You can select the option tab and use the merge ends, and right now you can see the system automatically merge ends to the predefined existing solid geometry. And I'd like to use the sweep feature or use the function copy and paste. So I will use the copy and paste, and the system asks me select the curve where you would like to place it. Okay, it's fine. Maybe we can change a little bit the shape of the edges. So I will use the modification like here. Yeah, that will be fine. Okay, and right now is the question if it is possible to create a round feature here on that edge. If you select the edge and the system will show you only this preview, it means that it's really hard to create a round feature here. And where is the problem? If you have a look here in the sets, you can see the system will create a round feature as a rolling ball. But you can change the rolling ball to normal to spine, and right now you can see the system will change it, dynamic preview, and it's possible to create a round feature here. So if you have a complicated geometry, do not use the rolling ball function, but normal to spine. And you can specify the dimensions, and the system will create the round feature for you. Again, maybe some example, what does it mean and how it works. Over here you can see that it's rolling ball. It means the system will create the round feature, how you will roll the ball on the radius 80, because it's a circular. But in the sets it is possible to create the different kind of the connections, and then, for example, you would like to create the D1 and D2 conics. So what does it mean? The system will create for you different kind of radius. So for example, parabolic or hyperbolic radius. Yeah, so you can see here the system will right now create for me hyperbolic or parabolic radius for me. So you can specify the different kind of the quality. And what about quality? If I will create a round feature here, the system will automatically create a tangent connection. I can see that the system will create a tangent connection because we have an analysis curvature shade. For example, give me a sec. Reflection. And if I have select the surfaces, you can see right now that system will create for me the tangent connection. Yeah, it's not continuous mirroring or reflexing geometry, but if you change this round by the definition function and you will specify that you would like to create a C2 continuous, you can see here that round using a spline cross-section with a curvature continuous to the surfaces. And if you use the same analysis, reflection, you can see right now that system will create for me nice connection between two surfaces. This function is really useful if you work with surface modeling. Okay, so I will change the shape again a little bit, and I will delete some preferences and features. Okay, I'd like to show you how you can create automatic round for all edges. What does it mean? You don't need to select edges step by step and use the control button and specify dimension, or you can use the control button, shift button and combination. Yeah, for example here, again, inside radius will be, for example, outside radius is 25 and inside radius will be only 10. Yeah, so you can use the combination, and again, this is an inside radius, so you can use the selected edges and functions. And you need to continue. Yes, select another edges and continue. Spend here 2 minutes. No, I don't want to select edges manually. I like to use the function AutoRound. And you can see here that you can specify outside radius will be 25 and inside radius can be same on something small or bigger. It depends what you need. I said that my inside radius will be only 10. And if I confirm, the system automatically create rounds feature here. Yeah, everywhere. For what is it good? If you will change the shape, for example, I will create another round or extrude feature here. Yeah, something like this. I can add material and I will put the insert here. So the system will automatically create for me the correct round feature, or I will select the definition and I like to remove and create a hole. Yeah, so system automatically create the AutoRound feature for me. And you said, okay, but I don't want to create AutoRound everywhere. For example, you don't want to create AutoRound on these selected edges because you would like to create it later. You can select AutoRound edit definition function and you can exclude any edges. For example, I like to select all vertical edges from this extrude feature. Again, you can select one by one, or you can select right mouse button and left mouse button, and the system automatically select all vertical edges for you. Okay, so if I confirm OK, the system will do not create round feature on excluded edges. You can do it same here. Right mouse button and left mouse button and continue. Whoops. Wow, perfect. And folks, in today's video tutorial, I'd like to show you how to work with Chamfer feature with Creo Parametric 4.0. At the beginning, we will create new 3D model. If you start from scratch, the system will create new 3D model, and over there are placed 3 datum place and coordinate systems. The system will start from the template, and this template is possible to define in configuration for Creo Parametric. How to configure the Creo Parametric? Stay tuned and I will show you in the next tutorial how to define and specify the templates for solid, sheet metal and assembly. But today I'd like to focus on the chamfer feature, so we have to create some first geometry. I will create new extrude. In the extrude will be really easy shape, some rectangle, and we can specify the new dimensions here there. So you can use the right mouse button and function modify, set new value and confirm OK. Specify the depth, size, and done. Okay, right now I don't want to see the datum features, so I will switch off these datum features and I'd like to see the model shading with edges. If I spin the model, you can see here that right now the system will spin model around the spin center. You can switch off the spin center and the system will spin the model around the mouse. So right now, if you will spin the model over here, you can see, or if I will move the mouse on the left top corner, the system will move the object around my mouse. I use this function for the big objects or whole assembly, because sometimes you need to focus on small part and you need to spin the model around this edge and so on. It was only explanation how to manipulate with the mouse. We would like to create a new chamfer feature. And you can see here that we have a two possibility. We can create edge chamfer or corner chamfer. I will start with corner chamfer, and it's really easy. What we need to select is vertex of the object. So select vertex and system will create 3 dimensions for you. You can see D1, D2 and D3, and you can specify separately from the ribbon menu or directly from 3D. It's up to you. If you would like to finish, no problem, you can finish or select the definition from the layout menu, and in the placement tab you can change the vertex, for example over here. And if I confirm OK, you have really easy change the placement for your corner. So it was quick and really easy. So with corner chamfer you can really easily specify the corner, dimensions and finish. If you would like to continue with chamfer feature, you can select edge chamfer. It means that you can select the edge and the system will create the chamfer on this edge. You can move the dragger or you can specify the dimensions. Right now you can see the system will create the chamfer for me D per D 40. You have a lot of options how you can specify the chamfer, and you can, for example, select dimension 1 per dimension 2. Right now the system will specify 2 different dimensions for the chamfer for me, and the first one will be, for example, number 15 and another one will be 80. The question is, if you would like to flip this function, is no problem, you can flip directly here. So the system will change the orientation D1 and D2. It works same if you select another edge. For example, I will select the edge. You can see here that layout menu automatically show me that it is possible to create the edge chamfer here. And you don't want to create D1, but you would like to create another type. It's an angle per D. And you can see here that you can specify the angle or dimensions. Or another type is the 45 per dimension. So automatically the system will create 45 degree per dimensions. Another option is you can specify O per O and O1 per O1. The better explanation is if I will show you in another example. Okay, I don't want to see this information, so I will delete, and I'd like to start from the different shape. You know that it's possible select the definition for the extrude feature, and over there is the function add taper, and I'd like to specify the taper. On this example, I'd like to explain to you what does it mean O per O. Again, you can select the icon from the menu, or you can select the edge and icon from the layout menu. It's up to you what you want to use. Right now you can see the system will create for me D per D. Or you can switch, or I will select the dimension 20. And right now the dimension is 20 millimeters from selected edge to active point to the dragger, yeah? But if you change it to O per O, the system will change dimension from 20 to 27 millimeters 0.03, and you can see if I will go back to D per D, it will be again 20. So over there is the some math, and the math, like I said, I will explain on the attached picture. Again over here, I will specify dimension 20, but I'd like to change it to O per O, And you can see the dimension a little bit different. Okay, again here, I will change D per D, it's 20. And if you change back to O per O, it's different value. Everything depends about the angles of your shape. Okay. So right now you know how to work and specify different type of the chamfer scheme. The chamfer scheme is possible to set in config options and configuration editor. And over there you can add chamfer scheme. We have to set, for example, 45 per D. If I will add these configuration options here, OK, you can come from OK, and the system will ask you if you would like to save it. For now, I'd like to only use it. I don't want to save this function. What does it mean? If you will specify the configuration options and you will create new chamfer, the system will automatically use the predefined scheme. So it's really useful and really practice. But you have to be careful. If you have a not 90-degree shape, you have to change it to O per O, and then it's okay. So I will change it a little bit again, and I don't want to use the taper. You can switch off directly from the ribbon or from the right mouse button, and again create a new chamfer. And you can see right now the system will show me predefined default scheme 45 per D. I will select and specify dimensions, and with control button you can specify more than one set. Yeah, so in first sets I specify 2 edges, and the another sets I like to specify different value. So it's really similar to round feature. You can work with sets. You can confirm if you need to add or remove some sets, or you can select at the definition. With control button you can add or remove the edges, or you can go here and delete sets or add the new one. So everything depends about your shape. In my last video tutorials, I was spoken about the really quick selection of the edges for round feature. It's a similar if you will work with chamfer and work same. So I'd like to create the chamfer on that edge, but I don't want to use only this one edge, but I like to select the right mouse button, and then the system show me information that the system will create the chamfer on the intent edges from the extrude feature. So you can use the vertical intent edges. Yeah, so we only select that. Right now the system really quickly create the chamfer here. Yeah, I will finish it. And for what is it good? It is really powerful, because if I will delete, yeah, in my model tree I will leave only chamfer 2, created chamfer on intent edges, on vertical intent edges. While I would like to use the intent edges, if I will change shape for extrude feature, and for example I will add another shape here, so you can see that I can add something, and if I will finish, the system automatically create the chamfer on definite intent edges. Yeah, so if I will select the definition, you can see the system will automatically create the chamfer for me correctly. And the question is, if I will delete the information from model tree and I'd like to create intent edges on top or bottom surface. So select the chamfer feature, move the mouse to one edge and select right mouse and left click. the system will create the chamfer as intent edge. You can use it on the bottom too. So for example, if I use the control button and then right mouse button and left, the system will create the chamfer or same chamfer on these edges. And you would like to ask me if it is possible to create vertical intent changes too. So select again control button that I'd like to add and right and left. And right now you can see that I was really quickly make a same chamfer for whole edges on my 3D model. I know this shape is really easy, but I'd like to show you how the system select the information from the menu. Yeah, in the sets you can see the system will create for me three sets. No, in one set was selected 3 intent edges: top one, bottom one, and vertical. You can delete or remove if you need. Okay, I'd like to continue. The best practice is if I will show you everything on one file. I don't want to create 1000 extrude feature or Revolve feature and different shape. I'd like to describe the chamfer. The question is, if you would like to create a chamfer on that edge and you would like to automatically connect this chamfer to this point. So you would like to use something like create chamfer, but not specify the dimension, but specify the reference. Over here is the information that you can use, that you don't want to use the values, but you would like to use the reference. And right now I will select that point. For what is it good? If you will change this shape, the system will automatically be attached this chamfer to that edge. And my colleague said, okay, it is working with chamfer. It is working with round feature too. And I said, yeah, okay, you don't know how to do it. Spin the model, create round here. And right now you would like to go here. Okay, no problem. Select sets. You don't want to use the value, but reference, and select the point. And if you change the shape of this one, the system will automatically change the radius based on the reference. Okay, so it was example how to work with reference for the chamfer and round dimensions. And what about if you create tangent edges? So you would like to create a chamfer on that edge, and you can see here again that system will automatically continue as a tangent. So he will continue with chamfer feature. You can go again to pieces, select piece 1, and you would like to create chamfer only as a piece, and the system will create similar like with round feature. So the logic is same. And if you would like to stop at reference, no problem. You can create new chamfer. And right now you would like to create the chamfer here, but you would like to stop at reference. You can create datum point on the fly. So select this menu on the right. You want to create a point on that edge. And you can choose if you would like to work with ratio or real. And you can specify the dimensions. So for example, 120 millimeters. It will be my reference point. Yeah, it was created here. And I'd like to continue with chamfer feature and use the transition mode. And this transition will be stop at reference on that point. Yeah, perfect. I like it. Very powerful. And if you work with surface modeling, you can create a chamfer as quilt. So no problem, specify the edge, and then you can select that I'd like to create only surfaces. And over there is the function create end surfaces, and system will create necessary surfaces if you want. Yeah, so for example like this, And for what it is good, you can use it for the intersection, and you can copy some faces and make a solidify feature. Yeah, for example, really quickly make a cut by surface, a chamfer, and solidify feature. How to use the solidify feature, again, stay in touch, and I will show you later in the next tutorials how to work with all Creo features. Okay, let's continue with chamfer. I have shown you that it is possible to create different type of the chamfer and how you can manage your references and create and stop the information at references. And if you have a question about the transition, okay, let's start. We can create a chamfer again on selected edge and specify dimensions. And again, you can specify different type. And you can see here that system will create the intersection here. Yeah, if you have a 3 or more or less selected edges, the system will create some shape. If I will use the only that I like to see how it will look. Okay, oh no, I'd like to change the transition over here. So select it, and you can use the patch. And right now you can see that it will be looks a little bit different like default, or you can use the corner plate and you can specify how it look. Yeah. So right now is up to you what is better for you, and always depends how many edges and what dimension do you have defined. Again, for example, I will change the shape a little bit, and for example this one will be different. Okay, let me choose something different. Right now the system will always create this one, and the patch is different. Okay, so it was a quick example that, again, with chamfer feature, it's really easy to manage the transitions. And last but not least, it's the example how we can use the chamfer on predefined selected edges, not one but more. So again, I will delete existing one, and here is the question where you would like to create the chamfer. I'd like to show you that it's possible to create the chamfer between two surfaces, and I would like to change it a little bit. Yeah, so I will change the shape directly from 3D. And if I will select the chamfer, the system will ask me select one edge. So I can select one edge, or you can select opposite and you can select surface to surface. And again, the system will create the chamfer between surfaces. So you can see here that it is really similar, that you can work with edges or selected surfaces. And how the system will specify if you will select the chamfer on one edge, but you would like to work with pieces. I like to work with this piece, and I like to go around that edges. So you can see here that right now the system will work a little bit different, and the system will create really nice chamfer, something like belt. But you said, okay, 3 are correct and this one is not so good. No, no, no. You can go back to transition mode. You can select and use the function blend, and it looks perfectly, smoothly, like you want. Okay, so this is the final results, how you can work with pieces in another example.
Yeah.
Hi folks, in today's video tutorials I'd like to focus on the feature shell with Creo Parametric 4.0. Again, I'd like to start from scratch, so we will define the new 3D model name. If we would like to working with shell feature, we need to create 3D geometry, so I will prepare the couple of features. It will be really easy shape and doesn't matter about the dimension and symmetric, so I'd like to only create a base 3D models, and I don't want to see the datum feature here. And again, I'd like to create more than one feature, so we can use the projection, for example, or create any shape. Yeah, so I will combine the icons and right mouse button, and I can delete unnecessary edges. The system will create for me the shape. If I will finish, you can see that my shape is really easy. Yeah, again, we would like to create a full round feature here, so I can select the round feature and right mouse button full round. I said that I'd like to show you how to work with shell feature. We have a couple of options how to work with shell, and the easiest way how to use the shell feature is select the shell and select surface to be removed from the part. So if you select one surface, the system will remove this. This selected surface, if you use the control button, the system will remove more than one surfaces. You can change the thickness, and you can go opposite direction, and the system will add material from existing geometry. So I will go inside and specify the thickness. The thickness is possible to specify from 3D or directly from the ribbon menu. If you confirm, you have created first shell feature here. If you will change the dimensions, for example, of this extrude feature, it's not problem. The system will automatically regenerate all visible features. The question is, if you would like to specify the hole here, and I'd like to create a hole, and I'd like to create concentric hole. I missed the axis, so it's no problem. You can select from the right menu, create the datum axis, select the surface, confirm OK, and then you can continue with the whole feature. With the control button, you will select the start surface, and the system will create whole feature for you. Right now you can see that system create everything correctly. I need to specify the depth, and the depth will be through all. Yeah, so right now the system will go through with the hole. If you need to change shape of the extrude tool, you can, with dynamic preview, again, really easy change it. The question is, if you will make some modification in the model tree. I will spin the model like here, and right now the system reads the information from top to bottom. If I will move the hole up to shell, will change the shape of the created object a little bit. For better explanation, I will switch shading with edges. Yeah, it will be better for visualization. So how the system reads the data? I have created extrude feature 1, extrude feature 2, then I have created a round feature, hole, yeah, and then for the shell feature was selected two surfaces, top surfaces and left surface. If you would like to edit that hole, you can select again edit definition for shell feature, and you can in the reference tab select more than two surfaces, and the system will remove the hole too. So it depends how you will manage the feature in model tree. And what about another modification of the shell? You can add or remove the feature, because over here you can see the menu where is removed feature. So for example, you can remove that surface, or you can use the menu from here, from the ribbon, or you can use the control button. On the right side here is the specification non-default thickness. If you click here and you specify one or more surfaces, the system will show you the another dimension thickness. Over here is the thickness of the material for whole 3D model, and over here you can see that is the possibility to specify different thickness. Again, I will finish, and for better explanation I will create a section as a planner, and I will move it a little bit, and you can see here how it is defined. So if I will select again at the definition for the shell feature, and in reference window I can select the another surface, for example that surface, I can specify different thickness. Yeah, so the system will change the visibility for me. If you don't want to work with the sections, you can deactivate. In this example, you have seen how we can work with shell feature and specify different visibility of the removed surfaces, or how to manage the feature in the model tree. In the next example, I'd like to show you how you can exclude some surfaces from the shell feature. I will start again from the scratch. So I will create new shell feature, new 3D model, and I will create some revolved shape. I'd like to create, for example, some cap. So over there will be really easy shape for the cap. And if you work with Revolve feature, we need to specify the revolved shape and axis of revolution. If you confirm, the system will create base shape for you. Okay, what we need to do is to specify the another feature, and for example I'd like to show you how we can create the ear on the cap. So I'd like to create a sketch, and in the sketch we will create really easy shape. If I would like to set the references that surface, so I can use the Alt key from my keyboard. Yeah, this is the shape what I would like to use for the sweep feature. In the sweep, I will select go to section, and in the section I'd like to place the predefined sketch from the palette. Over here we have a shapes of several shapes, and I will use the drag and drop, and I'd like to place it here, and for example spin it a little bit, change the size. Yeah, I will finish the placement of the sketch from the sketch palette, and then I will finish the sketch. System will automatically sweep predefined sketch, and in the option tab I will use the merge ends, because I like to merge these ends directly to created surface. Okay, so you can see the sweep feature is working, the system will follow the sketch. If I will change it a little bit, so I'd like to change the original shape, we can use some fillets here, and the system will create nice ear on the my cap. And now we would like to focus on the shell. So if I will select the shell feature, and the system and ask me, can you select the surface to will be removed? Okay, no problem. You can see that system will remove all surfaces and inner surfaces from the ear too. So again, I would like to focus on the section, and I will go directly here. So we have two possibilities. How to manage that you don't want to create a shell directly inside of the cap. You know that is possible to move the shell feature up to sweep, yeah, drag and drop, and everything is done. It was really quick. But sometimes you have a parent and child relationships, and it's really hard to move this feature. For example, you have your sketch is connected to existing geometry, and then it's not possible to move like here. So I will go back, yeah, and I don't want to see the visualization of the section, deactivate, and I will edit definition of the sweep feature, of the shell feature. Over here, we have a possibility go to Option tab, and over there is the function Excluded Surfaces. You can select the excluded surfaces step by step, surfaces from the object, and then the system will allow to you to select with Shift button Attached Surface. And then, if you finish, the system automatically create the selected surfaces automatically, and the name of this selection is Seed and Boundaries. Yeah, okay. So right now you can see that it's not, the system will automatically exclude selected surfaces from the shell. So you can see it is working really nicely. And what about radius? Yeah, again, if you have a look here, I'd like to create a radius because this cap is not look so good. So I will delete this feature one more time, and I'd like to show you that is the possible work with round features. So for example, I will select that edge and that edge with Control button and specify some rounds. And then over here, I'd like to create the round feature here. Oh, it looks good. And again, if you create a shell feature, select the top surface. You don't want to see the round here, yeah, inside, because I don't want to create a shell feature directly in over there. So go to Option tab, click Exclude Surfaces, select the first surface, Shift key and surfaces here, and system will create automatic selection for seeded boundaries. If you finish, your caps looks perfectly, and right now you can make a visualization, for example, with Creo rendering. Hi folks, in today's video tutorial I'd like to show you how to work with the rip feature with Creo Parametric 4.0. We'll start again from the scratch, and I'd like to create the rip feature. You can see here that it is not possible to create rip features because you need to use the rip feature for existing geometry. At the beginning, I will create the first extrude feature based on the sketch plane, and in the sketch I will create a base shape, and you can see that will be really easy shape. And if I will confirm OK, I'd like to use the symmetric orientation for the extrude feature. Okay, I don't want to apply the dimensions or set the dimension, for example, for the quick example, it's okay. Right now, I have created the first geometry, and it's possible to create two different kind of the rip feature. I will start with profile rip. It's the most used rip, or if you work with plastic parts, you need to create trajectory rip. Okay, so let's start with profile rip. If you would like to create a profile rip, you need to select the sketch plane, and the system allows to you to create open sketch. Don't close this sketch. That sketch has to be opened. So for example, my rip will be looks like here. You can see here the system automatically again create the dimension for me. I can change it like you want and specify the new dimension and so on. So if you confirm OK, the system will create for you the first type of the rip. And if I will specify the thickness for the rip, you can drag the dragger, or you can set the custom dimension, for example 20 millimeters, and then the system will create automatically symmetrical rip for you from the sketch plane. But sometimes you need to specify that you would like to specify on the another side. You don't want to use it symmetrically. So select the arrow here and the system will place the rip on the left side, right side, or symmetrically. Yeah, so you can change it really quickly. Or you can specify on which size from the sketch you would like to create the rip, on the left or on the right, or inside outside here. So for now the system need to attach to existing geometry. So if the arrow are placed inside, the system will create the rip for you. So it was example how to create profile rip on the extrude feature. Yeah. The second example, how to create a rip, profile rip. I would like to specify on the Revolve sketch. So really quickly again, I will create some geometry in the sketch, and if I will finish, the system will create for me the nice shape. And right now, if you use the function create a profile rip, yeah, you can create directly sketch in the feature again, or opposite way, to create a sketch first and then apply the function. So for example, I'd like to use it here, and if you would like to attach, is no problem. You can use the coincident, for example, and the system will attach to existing geometry. Specify the dimension and finish OK. Yeah, for now I have created only sketch here, and if you use the function profile rip, the system asks you where you would like to create it, outside or inside, and again you can specify the thickness. If the system attach the Revolve feature, you can see here that rip is followed by that surface. So it's really nice and really cool that you can really easily create a rip feature, and then if you need it more than one time, for example, you can create a copy and paste and specify that you would like to place it on the different side, or you can use the pattern feature. For this example, I will use the axis pattern. It means the system asks you select the axis and how many objects you would like to place there. For example, I'd like to place there 7 rips, and the system can automatically count that 360 degrees divided by 7 is, and the system will count this angle for you automatically. So if you finish, the system will create 7 profile rip here. If you would like to edit, no problem. You can change it. For example, you would like to apply, for example, create the 5 rip, and you can regenerate. Okay. If you have created this rip, no problem, create a round feature, and for example, you can select with Control button and use the full round. And again, you would like to use the reference pattern, and the system will automatically create correct round feature on every rip. If you would like to create another round, select edge, specify the dimension. Again, you can use the automatically pattern feature and system will create nice shape for you. So it was a quick example how to use and work with rip feature, and for example how to use the pattern for this feature. In the second example, I'd like to focus on the trajectory rip. And again, we would like to start from scratch. I can create again, for example, really easy shape. And for example, it will be defined by rectangle. Yeah, defined by dimensions and some shape. Okay, in that example, I'd like to create a shell. Yeah, over here, you know how to create a shell. That is necessary to select the surface what you would like to remove. Yeah, if you use more than one surface, the system will remove it. Specify the thickness, for example 2 millimeters, and finish. In this box inside directly, I'd like to create the rip. So you can see here that is the possible to create trajectory rip. But I'd like to create the trajectory directly inside this box, so it's the possible to create the plane. And this is the sketch plane, and I like to move it a little bit, and normal plane can be directly inside. So specify value, how you'd like to, and then confirm. If you select the trajectory rip right now, the system allows to you to create the directly, for example, one line. You can see here that I can attach to inside surfaces, or you can directly only create the necessary line. If I will specify OK, the system will ask me whether I would like to create the rip. Okay, I would like to create it directly inside. And you can see the system automatically attached to inside geometry and create a rip for me. What is necessary to do? Specify the thickness for the rip, and then you can work with another function. Over here in placement tab, you have created the section, or in the shape you can see the thickness. If you would like to work with another features directly in the trajectory rip, you can add the draft, for example. Yeah, so the system will allow to you to add the draft and specify the angles for the draft, or add the rounds on internal edges. And you can see here that with dynamic preview, the system automatically add the internal radius. Again, specify the radius, confirm, or you can add the top rounds here. And again, in the shape, you can specify all dimension and directly see with dynamic preview how it works. So in the sketch right now, I used only one line. If you would like to create more than one rip, it's no problem. You can jump directly to the section and create the another lines here. Yeah, it means that you will specify the under the rips. Again, you can, in the sketch, you can attach to existing geometry, but it's not necessary. You can confirm, and you can see here that system creates for you the correct shape. And again, if you would like to add more than 3 rips, go to placement tab, edit, and add another lines, and you can create intersection line. The trajectory rip is the special feature that directly in the sketch you can use the intersection line. And final results looks like here. So you can see that it's possible to really quickly create the trajectory rip, and you would like to edit, no problem. You can, for example, edit first extrude feature, and system will show you dynamically new shape. And if you would like to modify externally the rounds, not problem, select right mouse button, and over there is the function externalize rounds. And the system will ask you if you would like to do it, and if you confirm, the system will create for you trajectory rip without the rounds feature and external rounds here. So again, you can add, remove the references by sets and work with round features separately. Hi folks, in today's video tutorial I'd like to focus on the sweep feature and orientation references, how to use the more than one curve in the sweep feature with Creo Parametric 4.0. And I will start from scratch and we'll see. Yeah, okay, so I will create new 3D model and it will be named like sweep, for example. And if you would like to use the sweep, we can directly start to use with predefined sketch, or you can use the existing geometry. I will create some existing geometry here. So for example, I will create the symmetrical rectangle and I like to place it directly in the middle. Okay, so I will a little bit modify and okay. You can see here that if you would like to use the sweep feature, you can select the existing edges. So if you would like to see the better existing edges, you can use the switch on the shading with edges. And I don't want to see the datum planes or datum feature. And okay, some small modification for visualization of datum features. Okay, I will try to create the first sketch here on the datum plane in the middle, and over there will be really easy shape. It will be only straight line. Yeah, it will be predefined sketch for me, and if I will finish it, you can see here that system will allow to me to place the sweep feature on the created curve, or you can select the existing edges. I would like to try to explain to you how to use the reference orientation. Yeah, you can see here that there is a lot of controls, buttons and possibilities how to orient the sweep feature. If you work with sweep, it's necessary to select edge or curve, and then you need to select the section directly in the feature. For better explanation again, I will use the small rectangle here. If you use default, the system will automatically use the reference and the orientation will be section plane control normal to trajectory. You can see here that system will always create the section orient by trajectory. What does it mean? I will finish and I will a little bit modify the source curve, and I will add there, for example, arc. So I would like to follow the tangency and some dimension. Yeah, okay. So you can see here right now that if the curve is straight, the sweep feature follows the straight, and if the curve is as arc, the sweep follow this trajectory. The question is that right now the system doesn't close this object here. No problem. Select the definition and use the function option merge ends. So you can see here that right now the system merged these ends with existing geometry, and it's the reason why I have created for you the first extrude feature here. So right now you know how to place the sweep feature, and it is possible to merge the existing geometry. So that's good. The question is how the system orient this section. I will create the chamfer, for example, here, and the chamfer will be defined by angle and some dimensions. For what is it good? I like to use this chamfer feature for sweep orientation. So if I will select the sweep feature and then the definition at the beginning, I'd like to show you how it is possible to use the plane control. So for example, I'd like to use the normal projection. What does it mean? You can select the normal projection like here, and right now the system always use the normal projection to selected surface. For better explanation, again, I will change the sketch and we can delete this information here and, for example, like here. So you can see that default orientation was like normal to trajectory, yeah, but normal to projection is definitely like here. So right now, if you will sweep your sketch, the system will always follow that surface. The another possibilities is if you change this constant normal direction, the system asks you direction reference. So for example, I will select this one. Yeah, so constant normal direction and direction reference will be top surface. The situation will be the same like the first option, normal to projection, but over here is the possibility to select the X direction reference. And I'd like to use that surface, and the system will orient my sketch based on the selected surface. What does it mean? If I will jump to sketch right now, the system will orient my X orientation directly normal to this surface. Yeah, so for what is this good? If you would like to drive your sweep feature, for example with Chamfer, you can really easy edit dimensions and the system will spin around and follow the orientation of the sweep feature. Yeah, perfect. I like it. The parametric modeling is really cool and really quick. So for now, you know how to use the sweep feature, how to use the option tab with merge ends, or how to orient your sketch. The second example is for the sweep feature, you can use the more than one curve. So I will continue. I will delete this existing sweep feature and I'd like to edit existing sketch. In existing sketch, for first example, I'd like to add only one curve. Yeah, for example, same like this, and it will be some arc. And right now, you can see that for sweep feature, I can select first curve. It will be selected like origin. And if I use the control button, the system automatically jump to variable section sweep. Yeah. And the system right now allow to me in the sketch use existing curves here. The orientation is normal to first curve. Yeah, so you can see here, but it's not a problem. For example, I will create standard rectangle here and I use the reference that point. If I confirm OK, you can see that system will create for me the correct shape, and you can follow and change it like you want. For better explanation, I will start totally from the scratch. Yep, Control D is default orientation, and I will create really quickly a couple of curves here. So for example, the first curve will be my origin, and the another curves, okay, I can create a separate sketch, or we can use the same. And on the left side, I will use like this, and over there will be different shape. Okay, and that sketch I'd like to copy and orient. So I like to use another function, copy and paste special. I like to show you always more and more, so follow my video tutorials and you will learn almost every feature with Creo Parametric 4.0. If you will select copy and paste, you can use the apply, move and rotate, and then the system asks you if you would like to move or rotate, and then you can spin your sketch and define the dimensions here. So it was a quick example how you can create a copy of existing curves, and right now you can see here that I have specified my shape. It's really similar to the icon. Yeah, you can see here, over there in the icon was used only 3 curves, but I like to show you more. Select again the sweep feature, and at the first you need to select the reference curves. So origin will be in the middle, doesn't care. Yeah, you can select the first one or another one. And then with control button, you will select another one. But remember, with the origin, you have the specification of the orientation of the section. So right now, if you don't use the X direction orientation, the system automatically spin the model, and directly there you can create the curves. You can create the straight lines, for example, and the system will follow the existing curves. And if you finish, you have created really nice shape based on the curves. And if you change something, the system automatically will modify the shape. Again, you can use the solid modeling or surface modeling. Yeah, right now I have created surfaces. Or if you select the option tab, you can use the surface modeling and use the function cap ends. And right now the system creates for me the surfaces, but with capped ends. So it was a quick example how you can use the surface modeling with sweep feature. Later you can create the another surface, yeah, for example like this, and for example I'd like to specify the different shape here, and the system will automatically jump the surfaces. And what I need to do is create a surface, and then if you use this drop-down menu, I don't want to say in the future, you can really easy jump and select the quilts. The system allowed to you select only quilts, and if you use the control button and you select the created sweep feature and extrude feature, you can use the function directly from the flyout menu and use the merge. For the merge, you can select the arrows and choose what you want, and the system will create for you the final shape. If you don't want to see the sketches, select and use the hide function, or hide everything what is here. And at the end, it's necessary create a solid modeling, so use the function solidify and the system will create solid model for you. So it was a quick example how we can use the sweep feature, how to orient the model directly with sweep sketch, and then I have shown you how you can use more than one curve directly for the sweep. Hi folks, in today's video tutorial I'm going to show you how to work with mirror feature. I will start from scratch, so we will create new 3D model and we need to specify the name of the 3D model. And for geometry what I would like to create is Extrude feature. If you select sketch plane, you can directly create your custom sketch, and over here you can see that I create some base rectangle. If I finish OK, you can see here that right now I use the Creo 5, so you can see new user interface, and the dragger is a little bit modified with visualization, and you can specify again the depth for the object and confirm OK. You can see that for my sketch I didn't use the symmetrical rectangle, and for example if you would like to use the mirror feature, it will be good if our shape will be directly in the middle. So you can change the sketch and specify the constraints, or you can create new datum plane, for example, and select reference surface. So for example, I'd like to select the surface what is not possible to see, so we can select right mouse button and system will select the next surface. So I will select the first invisible surface, and then with control button I will select the opposite surface. System automatically will create middle plane, and you can set name that is middle one, for example. Yeah, so this plane I like to use for our mirror feature in the future. So this source or base datum feature is possible to hide. I like to focus only on the middle plane. Okay, so it was a really quick example how you can manage your custom middle plane, and I will start to continue. So for example, we will create the first whole feature, and we will place the first hole here, and is necessary drag the references for X and Y reference dimensions and specify the dimensions for the hole, yeah, the diameter and the depth. For example, this hole will be, for example, 100 of the diameter and some dimensions. We would like to focus on the mirror feature, so if I will switch on the datum plane, what is placed in the middle, you know that right now if I will select the hole from the model tree and we will use the mirror feature, is necessary to specify the datum plane for the mirror feature. System automatically create the feature. You can confirm with middle mouse button or directly from the ribbon, and this mirror feature is dependent. What does it mean? If you will change any diameter of the hole or depth for the hole, yeah, you can see that system automatically modify mirrored feature. For better visualization, I'd like to see the shading with edges, and it was first example. So mirror feature 1 is dependent. The question is how to create independent mirror feature if you need it. So again, we will create a plane between surfaces, and the system will create second middle plane. Again, you can change the name over here and mirror 2, for example. And this datum plane I like to use for the second mirror. If you select more than one feature with control button, you can create a group, or directly from the flyout menu create a mirror, or jump here and choose the mirror feature here. The system asks you again for the datum plane, so select datum plane for the mirror feature, and in option tab is the option that I don't want to use the dependent copy. So right now the system will create an independent copy. And what does it mean? If you will focus on the whole one and you will change the dimensions, for example, dependence will be between these two holes, but over here is not dependent. So this is modification. If you would like to manage in the first direction some dependency and in the second direction some another dependency. What does it mean? Mirror 2 is dependent between this hole and that hole. So if you will choose, for example, hole 2 and you would like to change the dimensions, you can modify it. And you can see that in the first direction is dependent, and in the second direction is from this way is independent. So you can really easy manage this position and you can reuse it. It was really quick example how you can specify dependent and independent mirror feature, and then how you can modify the custom position, diameter. Hi folks, in today's video tutorial I'm going to show you how to work with Extrude feature with Creo Parametric 5.0. We will start from scratch, and at the beginning it's necessary to define the name for the 3D model. I will start to create the Extrude feature directly from the ribbon. So you can see here that it's possible to select the icon, or is it possible to use the map key X from the keyboard. If you select the feature, you need to select the sketch plane and system will automatically jump the sketch. You can see that right now I can see the new ribbon where is it possible to define the line, rectangle, circle or base sketching feature. The system will always orient in 3D as a default. So for example, if you would like to jump to 2D orientation, you can select this icon sketch view and the system will orient the sketch to 2D. If I will create, for example, rectangle, so you can see here the system automatically create the dimensions, and it's possible to set some custom new value, and automatically system regenerate the sketch. For confirmation OK, you can see the system will jump again to 3D, and you can specify the depth. The specification of the depth is possible by dragger, so you can choose the side or you can use the arrow. Specify the depth, for example 300, and confirm OK. For now, I don't want to use the datum planes, so visibility of the plane, the display, I can switch off. How to orient model? You can see right now that model is always oriented around the spin center. So this is the point directly in the middle of the object. If you want to use the orientation based on the mouse, don't use the spin center. And right now the system will spin the model around the mouse. If you would like to zoom in, zoom out, you can see the system going directly to the mouse. I said that if you use the another Extrude feature or Extrude feature, and if you select the sketch plane, the system will always leave the orientation in 3D. You can change it. So I'd like to show you how you can manage your configuration options. So directly in File, Options, it's possible to select Configuration Editor. And we will add the new configuration options, and the name is, I like to use the function for type of keyboard, and over there is the starts. And I'm looking for the Sketcher starts in 2D. You can see the default is the no, and I like to jump to the yes, and add change and close. You can confirm OK, and system will ask you if you would like to save this new configuration options directly to your default config profile here. You can confirm yes and save it, or for now I'd like to just only use it. So the system will remember my selection. And how does it look? If you select Extrude feature and you will select sketch plane, the system will automatically orient to 2D. It's no problem. You can jump to 3D, you can spin the model, and if you would like to jump again to 2D, just select sketch view. You can continue with creating of the another sketching geometry. So for example, I'd like to create some another base shape and set some value. So for example, new value will be this one. And right now you can see that if I will confirm OK, the system would like to add the material. If you go inside, the system automatically remove the material. Over here is the icon for the remove. So you can jump and add or remove the material. If you finish your feature and if you select edit definition, the system right now doesn't recognize if you would like to add or remove the material. The system will remember the last configuration what is specified. If you would like to add material, it's not problem, you can add, and system will add material always. So be careful if you finish feature or not. Okay, would like to specify some another options, yeah. And for example, I like to create some chamfer here because I like to use and show you some another option what is possible to do with Extrude feature, and the spinning of the orientation will be this way. It will be okay. I will select the new Extrude feature, and right now maybe we can select the surface, and over here the system automatically show you in the small flyout menu that is the possible to create a sketch, Extrude, Revolve feature, and so on. So for example, Extrude feature. And right now again we'll continue with base shape, with rectangle, specify dimensions, and if you confirm OK, you can see that it's possible to specify the depth. In the options, you will see a better configurations. So you can see here that I can select, for example, to select it. And I like to select that surface. The system automatically continue with following the selected shape, and here you can specify if you would like to offset, yep, from the selected surface, and system will automatically measure as an offset, or you can use the function as a Extrude for translation, and you can specify the number of the offset in the selected reference, and for example 25. The question is if you can specify it in one direction, if it is possible in two directions. Yes, it is possible. So for example, I'd like to show you here on the opposite side. So again, I will create really quickly the chamfer feature here, and we will create new datum plane as sketch plane. So if you would like to select that surface but it's not visible here, you can select right mouse button and then left mouse, and system allows to you to create datum plane, and this new datum plane will be for new Extrude feature. And for example, that shape, and over here I'd like to explain to you the depth options. Yeah, this tutorial is focused on the depth options. So you can see here that it's the possibility to use the dragger, it's the possibility to use right mouse button, and you can choose if you would like to select the symmetric, yeah, value for the Extrude feature, or you can choose it here. So we have three options how to specify the depth and how to manage it. Use the base icon, or directly in the dragger you can use the right mouse button. Again, I like to use the function to select it, and the first direction will be to select it here, but I like to offset value. So I like to go back a little bit, for example 5 millimeters. Yep. And the second direction, again, I like to use the to select it. For example, that surface, and then I like to use the translation. So I like to expand it a little bit more. So for example, 10 millimeters. Yeah, or something bigger. It's no problem, you can change it anywhere. So it was some really nice example how you can manage the extrude feature and the depth option with Creo Parametric 5.0. Hey folks, would you like to understand the dimension pattern? Here is the quick video tutorial. We will start from scratch and we will create new 3D model with base shape, and our base shape will be based on the base rectangle. Okay, I'd like to show you how to pattern and how to use the dimension pattern. For better explanation, I will create, for example, whole feature, and the whole feature will be defined by the dimension selected from the left side and bottom side. Okay, over here will be 50 and for example 60, and diameter will be only 10 and depth will be 20. Yep. So 10, 20, 50, 60. It will be good for understanding how I'd like to manage a pattern. Yeah, you can see here that right now I created one hole. This hole we would like to pattern, so you would like to use the pattern feature directly from the layout menu or from the ribbon, so it's up to you. We would like to go here in this direction, so I will use the dimension 60, and every, for example, 70 millimeters, I'd like to create new hole. So you can see here that right now I'll create a second member, and for example in this direction I'd like to create 4 members. So you can see here that in the dimensions I use the number 70. If you confirm OK, the system will create for you the correct pattern. If you would like to modify, you can select the definition, and in the direction 2 you can select here or directly here. You would like to select dimension 50 and you would like to go from this surface to here, for example 55, and the system automatically create viewpoints where the members will be created. If you confirm, the system will create for you the necessary pattern what you selected. The question is if your object will be created in different way. I will delete holes. I will create a new one more time. So new hole will be defined from that surface, but I like to select this surface for the second reference. And again, we will specify the depth, for example 20, diameter 10, and this one will be 50, and this dimension will be, for example, 350. Yep. And be careful for the pattern feature, because if you select the pattern and you would like to go here, this side to the right, you need to set negative value. Over here I have to select -70, and again you can choose how many members you would like to create. Yep. In the dimension, be careful and use negative value, because the dimensions and specification of the dimension is the how the system will create the pattern feature and pattern members. Okay, so you can see here that in direction 1 I'd like to create and specify the direction based on the dimensions. Okay. The question is that, for example, you would like to create a first member based on the original dimension and another members will be a little bit bigger. You can select the definition, and if you use the control button, you can specify, for example, that another hole will be bigger for 5 millimeters. So add by control button the dimension for the diameter, and if you finish it, every another hole will be bigger and bigger. And again, if you would like to specify the different depth, use the control button and specify, for example, every another holes will be bigger, for example 3 millimeters. And if you finish, you can see right now that system specified the bigger depth and bigger diameter. And how will it be looks? We will specify the direction 2. Yeah, so select, and for example every 60 millimeters will be another one, and for example 3 times. Every hole in the first direction will be changed by the diameter and depth. And if you would like to change dimensions here in the second direction, you need to select control button, and for example I'd like to create a bigger dimension in the direction 2, so for example 10 millimeters, and if you finish, the system will create a bigger and bigger value. So you can manage the depth, dimension, position, and which member will be created really easy, because right now you understand how to define the direction 1, what does it mean positive and negative value, how that is possible to specify the direction 2, and you can choose which members will be not created. So unselect, confirm, and you can see that right now the system doesn't create this feature member, or you can select the definition and add this member that you would like to create it. It was a quick example how to manage dimensions, pattern, feature. Stay tuned. Bye bye. Vladimir.